20s. We had a 2p slot, we had a penny slot, 1p and a 5p slot. They'd be inserted here and would have to be perfect size to go through this channel here. And then it would strike the gong here, which has a little transmitter attached, which would tell the operator that you are putting in the correct coin. And it would drop then here and would rest on this bar here, and that would allow you to dial. You see that little contact there would short out the dial, and you're now free to dial, so you could continue your first number. Of course, after the operator had instructed you to put in the correct amount, you might have a few 5p's to go in. That would give a different sound on this little gong, the 1p. And then she'd say to you, press button A. You press button A and all the coins would drop into the lower cash box here, and your call would be through. That would be a trunk manual call. It was only designed for local calls for the purpose of dialing in the city, the O1 area. And in that case you could go unassisted, just drop in the standard amount, which used to be, I think for a local call, was, what was it? I think it was 10p. So you'd put in the 5 2p's for a local call, and just dial straight out. You could dial and you'd hear your signals going out in your earpiece here. And if you could open the cover and just put your weight on that, you could make all the free calls locally you wanted, because that was the key bar there that freed up the dial. That contact there blocked the dial. The dial was inoperable in that case. And you also lost speech. If you blew into it, you couldn't hear any transmission, because there was a short on the transmitter here to speak. So it knocked off all the speech and dialing unless you put in the money. And there's another little gong. You see, that was for this little gong here. That gave the 5p signal. 5p was a princely sum at the time. So then it went to 10p. I remember it went up to 10p during the EMS, wasn't it? Remember the European money came in. So they all went up. So you can see the slots here, and they're perfectly gauged to accept the coin. Anytime there was a budget and the cost of a call came up, all of these had to be changed, and a little weight could be put on that, on the edge of that, to balance the amount. And it's critical that the right coin landed on that contact to free it up. And of course, if all fruit failed and you had to get the fall, you'd press this button, which broke down the other end of the line. You were no longer holding the line, and all your money would flow into this channel here and come out here, button B. Tricksters used to fill up this with paper, and all the people couldn't get their money back. And the miscreant would come back later, take out his paper, and all the money that should have been returned,
all the dough
would fall out into his hands. Also, they'd fill up these little slots with lollipop sticks, and then they'd come down with a knife and they'd force them all through, and they'd all come sailing, shillings and 5p's and pennies and tuppences down into the bar here, and then all you had to do was shove them out. So it was a primitive little device in this day of computers and electronic sensors. And there's a lot of work in them, though. We used to have a factory up in John's Road that used to repair these, but the damage, I remember in 1970 I was sent out to Coolock area, Raheny, and I had, I think, 70 boxes to look after on a bicycle, and no one had maintained them for months before, and there was nothing left of them. They were all out on the ground, these open, and this chute here cut away, and they'd be have spoons down into this, spooning out the money out of the lower cash box. There was a special staff used to come round and have a lock here and open up this to get the money. There was a lock here on it. Yeah, there you are. that would let out the money into a sack. And all the coins used to be counted in the GPO in the basement. And very often I'd have to call them out to come and collect the money in the box, but they used to tear the whole thing off the wall. And of course the handset was used as a hammer, and it was torn out, and the dials were wrecked. And these were far too delicate, these phones, for public purposes. So they had to go, and powerful steel boxes were first introduced using the same mechanism and a different sort of, I remember it was an alloy lock. It was, you couldn't fiddle it so easily. And that gave a few years of more security, but the vandals got on top of that as well. So then they have had a complete set with just the handset, and the workings of the phone all concealed in steel with just the dial visible. And they brought in a system whereby you couldn't jam the slots because an electronic beam picked up the coin as it went in. So you couldn't jam it. If you put any paper or lollipop stick, they just dropped down into the void and come out. So that overcame that problem with jamming the slots. And then, of course, the newer computerized exchanges came in, and they, as we were saying there, they were all frequency-based, and you could whistle and sound. But the old Strowger magnetic system, you could tap